The 1950s kitchen was a crucible of ingenuity, where every penny counted and every meal was a testament to resilience. Through a blend of authentic period tricks, heartfelt micro-stories, and real economic context, I will try to revive the lost art of stretching a dollar and a meal further than you ever thought possible. Do you remember when a dollar could feed a family for a week? When the kitchen was more than a room, it was a lifeline. Back in 1952, Margaret Henderson stood in her tiny kitchen staring at a nearly empty pantry and a stack of bills. Her husband's factory wages brought in about $3,300 a year, but 32.5 cents of every dollar went straight to groceries. That is over $800 just to keep the family fed. But Margaret was not panicking. She was smiling, because she knew something we have forgotten. She knew the kitchen was not just where you cooked, it was where you created magic from almost nothing. So let us step back into that world, a world where every saved penny meant security and dignity and hope, where the warmth of a meal was a miracle and the love behind it was this real secret ingredient. And right at the heart of every 1950s kitchen was the art of filling the oven. Sarah, in her new suburban home, watched her electric bill climb. Gas was 27 cents a gallon, and every penny mattered. So when she baked her apple pie, she would slide in a casserole for tomorrow and a batch of muffins for the kids' lunches. One oven session, 3 meals. That simple trick could cut cooking costs by 60%. And the house was filled with the smell of home and the pride of a job well done. But it wasn't just about what you cooked, it was about how you used every last bit. Betty, mixing her chocolate cake batter, scraped the bowl clean with a rubber spatula. Not a drop wasted. Cocoa wasn't cheap, and eggs were precious. That spatula meant 15% less waste. It's a small thing, but in a world where every crumb counted, it was everything. And when it came to peeling potatoes, Martha spread out yesterday's newspaper. Every peel, every scrap was caught and saved. No mess on the counter. Those scraps went into the compost or into the soup pot for tomorrow's stock. Efficiency, practicality, and a connection to the rhythms of a resourceful life. Dorothy kept her measuring cups and spoons pristine. She leveled flour with a knife's edge and always used the right cup for milk. Because a hamburger cost 12 cents, a baking mistake could mean a week without cake. Precision wasn't just for show, it was survival. When little Susie's birthday rolled around and colored coconut was too expensive, creativity took over. Grating lemon or orange zest into plain coconut made it beautiful and bright. That saved 30% on specialty ingredients and created a flavor that store-bought could never match. Chocolate was a luxury, but Anna knew a vegetable peeler could turn a block into elegant curls. No need for fancy decorations, just a steady hand and a little patience. The result? Desserts that looked like they came from a restaurant for pennies. Helen, expecting guests, pre-scooped ice cream onto a chilled tray. No last-minute chaos, no melting waste. Every guest got a perfect serving, and the treat stayed special. Patricia, baking for a church social, dabbed just enough grease under each cookie, not the whole pan. 70% less fat used, and the cookies slid right off. Precision, thrift, and a little bit of kitchen magic. When cake yeast was hard to find, bakers switched to granulated yeast, and they adjusted the liquid just so. No recipe failures, no wasted flour, fresh bread on the table, no matter what the store shelves looked like. Leftovers were not hidden in the back of the fridge. They were front and center, where no one could forget them. Yesterday's roast became today's lunch, and nothing went to waste. That simple trick could cut food waste by 40%. Louise never threw away day-old bread. A rolling pin turned it into breadcrumbs, perfect for coating chicken or topping casseroles. Waste became gold, and every meal stretched a little further. Eleanor spent one afternoon making enough beef stew for 3 dinners. Batch cooking meant less time at the stove, less fuel burned, and more meals from the same pot. Efficiency, comfort, and a full table. Menus followed the seasons. When strawberries were cheap, that is when you made jam and pie. When winter squash flooded the market, you found every way to cook it. Seasonal eating cut produce costs by half and brought the best flavors to the table. Bones from Sunday's roast became Monday's soup. Carrot tops, celery leaves, onion skins, all simmered into stock. Nothing wasted, everything used. The flavor? Richer than anything you could buy. Butter prices spiked, switched to margarine or shortening. One vegetable too expensive, substitute another. Flexibility kept meals affordable and bellies full. Portion control was not guesswork, it was math. Enough for everyone, but not too much. No leftovers to throw away, no hungry bellies, just right. Tight-fitting lids kept the heat in and the bills down. Shorter cooking times, lower energy use, and better-tasting stews. Simple habits, big savings. Pot size matched burner size. No wasted heat, no wasted money. Every detail mattered because every penny mattered. Slow boiling, not rapid. Unless you needed pasta quickly, gentle bubbling saved energy and made better soups. Patience paid off in flavor and in savings. Plan weekly menus before shopping. No impulse buys and no forgotten ingredients. Grocery bills fall by 1/3 and every meal is accounted for. Cleaning didn't require fancy products. Vinegar and baking soda did the job for a fraction of the cost. Sparkling counters, clean sinks, and money left in the envelope. Powdered milk was used for baking and cooking when fresh milk was too dear. Shelf-stable, affordable, and just as good in a cake or a sauce. Herbs grew on the windowsill, fresh flavor, year-round for the price of a few seeds. No need to buy dried herbs that lost their punch. Pressure canning turned summer's bounty into winter security. Vegetables, even meats, were preserved at home. Families bought in bulk at harvest prices, and the pantry was full when the snow fell. Community canning brought neighbors together, shared equipment, shared knowledge, and shared stories. The cost of preservation dropped and friendships grew. Oxtail, tongue, and other neglected cuts became family favorites. They were half the price of prime cuts and twice the flavor when cooked with care. Whipped cream made with confectioner's sugar lasted longer. Desserts stayed beautiful and nothing went to waste. Day-old donuts weren't thrown out. Toasted, buttered, sprinkled with sugar and cinnamon, they became a breakfast treat better than fresh. Envelope. Budgeting kept the household on track. Cash for groceries, cash for bills, each in its own envelope. No overspending, no surprises, just control and peace of mind. But the greatest trick of all? Building community. Neighbors helping neighbors. Sharing recipes, equipment, and a little bit of hope. Because the real wealth was not in the pantry, it was in the people around the table. So when you stand in your kitchen, remember these stories. Try just one of these tricks. Feel the connection to those who came before. Enjoy the satisfaction of making more from less. Notice the love in every careful detail. If your grandmother made a meal stretch, or your family has a trick of its own, share it in the comments. Let's keep these memories alive. The best money-saving trick is knowing we are not alone. We are part of a long, proud line of survivors, creators, and caretakers. That is something worth honoring every single day. The genius of the 1950s kitchen was not just in the tricks themselves, but in the spirit of resilience, creativity, and community that made every meal a small miracle. By reviving these practices, we honor the wisdom of those who came before, and we discover that thrift, love, and ingenuity never go out of style. If your family has a story or a trick that kept food on the table or kept memories alive, share a message, let everyone know, and cherish those moments. Reach out, connect, and pass them on.